Welcome to Life on Bourbon, the podcast. I'm Armando Leduc, creator of the sitcom Life on Bourbon. Every week, we'll pull back the curtain on the show, filmmaking craft, Bourbon Street mythology, character arcs, and real stories that inspired our wildest scenes. We'll talk lenses and line reads, budgets and bar fights, with cast, crew, and a few French Quarter legends. If you love creativity, story structure, and a little NOLA chaos, you're in the right bar. Grab a seat, let's roll. That's a good intro.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's pretty good.
It's all right.
So funny. I was having a sales meeting today. I was training some new sales guys. And I want you to just be a wet noodle. You know, be like, what'd you think of that? How about this? What did you think of that?
You want them to be a wet noodle?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
When we're doing the role play, like I want them to just be hard to sell. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like don't be too eager to buy the product.
Guess I wouldn't associate that with a wet noodle. I thought you were talking about like be a sponge. Oh yeah, look at that. You got a cup for a real shitty football team. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey,
welcome to Life on Bourbon. No, you can't talk. See at the bottom, it says hosted by Will Brooks. You shut your mouth.
Shut up.
I'm Will Brooks. I'm the host today. I'm the captain now. Look at me. I'm the captain now. Today,
do you know the story? You know the story about that guy?
Yeah, he was a Somalian.
No, that he couldn't afford to go to the red carpet.
Yeah,
and they were like,
Oscar nominee, right?
I believe so. And the whole
he got
story
for
that he
yeah.
couldn't even get to the red carpet
for the premiere.
Yeah,
but then he got nominated for an Oscar, and I think he made one more movie, and I don't know what he's doing now. But
I don't know. That was crazy, huh? Like,
I bet his offer sheet is not crazy. Let's get him for episode 2 of Life on Bourbon.
Might not be a bad idea. He
could
be
Oscar nominee, the bad guy from Captain Phillips.
Well, he could be like, visiting New Orleans, and he gets caught up in, some craziness
and some shenanigans.
Yeah, there's always shenanigans.
That was actually the original title for the show. It was originally going to be called Shenanigans, but just didn't have that
zing to it.
That's
actually not a bad idea, though. I'm gonna write that down.
Shenanigans. Yeah, let's change the title.
No, I'm talking about getting the guy from Captain Phillips.
Captain
Phillips.
Yeah.
I am the captain now guy. This is how, by the way, I make things happen. I just kind of write stuff down, and then I put it into my Go High level task list, and it gets added to the things that need to get done. So that's how this got put together. Really, truly. Life on Bourbon.
The actor's name in the chat.
Oh,
Abdulwale Muse.
Let's hit him up.
If you're watching Abdulwale, we want you for episode 2.
We're gonna get you for episode 2.
I know he's a fan.
Oh.
He's
a fan of the show already.
Yeah. He sends emails. He get lots of reader mail from guys like him. What are we talking about today? We're talking about money today.
Talking about money. We're talking about fundraising because a lot of indie film. Yeah. Well,
those deals, making that money.
Well, the thing is, a lot of creatives, they want to get their projects done. They want to get their projects out. And what's the biggest thing that's stopping them? Money.
Usually time and money.
Time and money. Right? More money than time. I know a lot of indie filmmakers that have a ton of time. That really isn't the issue. I would say it's more a money issue than anything. So I was going to unpack what we did for the show, how we raised money for it, how we got it done, and getting things across the finish line. So I'm hoping that you guys get something out of it today.
We did raise some money. We did Kickstarter.
We did the Kickstarter. Here's the secret. Here's the secret to Kickstarter, by the way. Have the money ready. Have somebody ready to take it across the finish line. In case you don't make the goal, right? So when we put together the Kickstarter, we already had the money. We just used Kickstarter as a marketing tool, really, to have something to talk about. And we raised money in the process too, right? So it was a sort of an easy way to market a project. But I would not go into a Kickstarter process without having some sort of funding secured on the front end, right?
Yeah.
And then everything you make on the Kickstarter is what we down here in New Orleans call lagniappe.
Yeah.
Some extra.
I think it's also when you're thinking about raising money, it's a lot of thinking about making a list of like who do you know already that might be interested in backing the project in some way, shape, or form, and then making the ask and maybe enticing them with a small part in whatever you're shooting, or they're going to get a producer credit, or things like that to kind of get them involved. But think about the people who already know you and know what you're capable of and know what you can do, and reach out to them and make the ask.
Yeah.
It's really, I find that making the ask is like 90% of anything in life.
And
Like
it's the hardest thing to do.
it's hard for everybody. But when you
I feel like because they don't want to hear the word no.
nobody, no one likes to be told no.
Yeah.
But you have to get over that hump and just make the ask, and like if you have a project and you're shooting something and you're like, all right, we need some money, you got to think about who you know, and just tell them, hey, I'm doing this, I need some help, would you be interested in helping out? If they say no, you just move on to the next person.
Yeah. Also think about this, guys. I don't think that indie filmmakers think about this at all. I think that this is probably an afterthought, but how are you going to market this project? What happens after the project gets done? And this is where a lot of people just drop and it just fails, right? Whether they don't have enough money to edit the piece, where they don't have enough money to promote it or get it into the right people's hands, and so it just ends up kind of dying. They spend all of their money making the project, and then there's no money left over for promotion, right? And so, my thought is make sure that you have enough money on the back end to get this thing out, right? Like right now we're doing promotion. That's why we're doing this podcast. And we were going to go to the American film market and pitch it. But then I was speaking to some people about that process and why it wouldn't necessarily be the best thing. And that's because once it's out of your hands, somebody else can control how it looks, how it sounds, what they want to do with it. And I didn't want to do that, right? Like I had spent so much time working on this and creating this that I didn't want to just give it to somebody else. So I'm self-distributing.
That's not the right way to go. Some people are okay with that and just want to get it out and get people
Valid.
to get someone to get their hands on it and put it out there in front of people. And
Valid.
if that's the mechanism that works for you,
I agree.
do your thing.
I agree with you. I wasn't valid. Yeah, if you want to just, create it and kind of put it out. I would really, if I didn't have a marketing agency, I would find a digital marketing agency. And here's where you can start getting creative with the things that you have, right? And maybe trading your services for help, right? So if I had a production company, which you do if you made a indie film, I would go after somebody that's in your town that's an SEO or a digital marketing specialist, and have them create a website for you, have them create some backlinks and some PR and some SEO for you, in exchange for creating videos for their company, right? Because you know what to do there. So it might be an easy way for you to trade services so that you can get some visibility on the back end. Get yourself a social media manager that will help you distribute the content, right? And you can help them by creating videos for them. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of different ways that you can get things going, and you don't necessarily have to have the money, right? If you have sweat equity, if you have a production company, which you do, that's the value, right? That's valuable. So use your talents, right, to find the people that you need to get your project to the next step. So it's a fun little hack that we've been using that hack for years, trading services for for all kinds of different things, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't. You can also start a podcast to promote your to market your project. Podcasts you can start a podcast literally for free. You don't have to have a bunch of equipment. You don't have to have microphones like these. You can just start a podcast and just like record it on your computer and at least start putting something out. Don't wait. Like, oh, I need great lights and I need a nice camera and I need to get podcast microphones. You don't need any of that crap. You need StreamYard or an app like it. If you have a camera and a microphone that's in your computer, you can be a podcaster. You can start podcasting and promoting your project that way.
Yep.
And bringing on people that were involved in the show, just like we're doing. So even though we don't have anybody who was available to come join us today, but that's okay.
I don't think we also didn't really plan this accordingly.
It's all good. But yeah, like those are simple. That's a simple thing that you can do to get the word out. And use social media to your advantage as well. Post about the show, people that are involved with whatever your project is, your movie, your show, whatever. Get people that have taken photos while they were on set, people that took videos while they were on set, gather a lot of information, and you can create content for your social media to market what you're doing. So
yeah, I'll tell you what, and you bring up a good point, right, with this podcast right now, right? Like we could overthink this thing and overthink this thing and overthink this thing, and it just never get done. Or we can just start doing the thing and figuring it out and, build the plane or build the parachute as we jump out of the plane. Right. Which
usually always means you're going to have a safe landing if you don't build your parachute until after you jump out of the plane. That's always a good
I've landed more times than I've crashed.
I'm just kidding. It's just a funny metaphor. It's like,
no, it's true.
I would never do that.
Like the bleeding neck metaphor, which I know you love.
Yes. We've always got bleeding necks. The bleeding neck is bleeding neck. The bleeding neck. We need to call 911 if we got a bleeding neck.
Right.
We're gonna die.
Listen, we have a bleeding neck. We do.
I think we have a paper cut. I don't think it's a bleeding neck.
I don't think it's a bleeding neck, guys. I think maybe we need a dictionary. Say what?
So we have a punctured jugular.
We got a punctured
blood
jugular.
Spurting out gallons of it.
We need a doctor. So yeah, let's hop into some of these questions because I think they're good. What was the moment we realized this project needed outside money instead of being self-funded? Because outside you can do a lot more when you have help.
But when did you realize that we needed to go outside of?
I mean, I've always realized it. I'm
you
always
had the idea for the Kickstarter from the jump.
There's always let me just say this. I already knew people that were going to fund it before I started the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, like it's just one of those things, just a law of averages. But I knew that we were going to need like at least 30 grand to do it correctly. Right. And that's even after we asked, people to, work for free and create some like, some contracts, deferred payment contracts and things like that. So that we could keep the costs down and get the project done. And people, some people agreed, some people didn't, but when you're making an independent project like that, it's just kind of, you just kind of have to put things together and throw spaghetti at the wall. You know what I mean? And see what sticks. Like, it's just how it goes. And independent filmmaking is like, it's just a wild west. Like, you just don't, you're asking for a lot of for a lot of permission. You're, asking for favors, and you're
also asking for forgiveness.
And you're asking for forgiveness, 100%.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's it's the Wild West. So I knew before we started the project that we were going to need money for incidentals and wardrobe and props and food, and food for sure. You have to make sure people are fed. Like, that's number one. Give them coffee, have Red Bull, Diet Coke, and keep people fed. That's it. I mean, like, that is the bare minimum. Like, don't ever shoot. And
we had another wrinkle that was thrown in, because the first half of the shoot was in Baton Rouge, and there was a slew of us that came in from, not slew of us, but there were a handful of us that came in from out of Louisiana, but there were others that were coming from New Orleans up to Baton Rouge, and we're shooting over 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out logistics for like lodging as well. That was something we had to put in there. So if you're going to shoot outside of your geographic area and you got your crew coming and you have your cast coming, you got to arrange for lodging, and that may mean hotels, that may mean just like, who do I know there that's got space. We did a little mix of all that. And it worked, but you gotta, all that stuff has to be thought out and put into play ahead of time. So, and that's a cost.
And it's a cost. So so I would recommend, just like Will was talking about, is just open your mouth and ask, right? And ask and ask and ask. And you'd be surprised if you ask enough people how many yeses you're going to get. Some are no. But most of the time it's yes. And I found that like people want to support people that are doing something, right? That are like, look at this person. They're pursuing a dream. They're pursuing something that they don't necessarily need to be pursuing, right? Like, is this going to make us money? Maybe. Doubtful. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not, I didn't enter this venture because I thought I was going to be rich because of it. Right.
Yeah.
It's just the story that I really wanted to tell. I wanted to have some fun with my friends, and we did. Boy, did we have a blast. Like, we had a great time. You know what I mean? And people, they still talk about it, right? And the friendships that were formed. So, for me, that for me, that's like the ultimate art form, right? And a collaborative, and such a collaborative art form where you have to rely on people and you have to work as a team, and all of the things have to come together. You know what I mean? Because you can't do it by yourself, right? And it's just a group effort, and everybody wants to, everybody's coming in and wants to do a good job, from like the people lighting to the people providing food to the actors to extras to like, everybody was just like, that was something that struck me too. There was a moment there where I was just like, we were at the bar and we had gotten a ton of extras to come into the bar to do the
people
scene.
off the street. Yeah.
And it was happening, and it was
we
working.
That last week, like, turn around there. I ran out and grabbed like 5 French sailors to go to the bar.
It was wild. And everybody just sat there.
Yeah.
And, and just like, were like quiet when we needed them to be quiet, yelled when we needed them to yell, go wherever we needed them to go. I was like, yo, this is phenomenal. It was great.
So, we had 30 or 40 people in that bar,
Oh,
which you can
easy.
make look like a lot more than 30 or 40 people when you film
Yeah.
it the right way.
It was
But
phenomenal. It was
it was
great.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, had a really good time. Um, before asking anyone for money, did we have to get clear on what did we have to get clear on internally? I think you need to have some sort of a budget, you
Yeah,
know?
the budget, and then I think that really what, and I've said this before, really what kickstarted everything, no pun intended, but really what got everything going was actually having like a solid date on the calendar of like, we are shooting, here's the window that we have to shoot in. And we did
Right.
that like what, 2 months out from like, we finally put that date. We only gave ourselves like 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't enough time. I mean, I think it was enough time, but having that date, even if you put it out 3 months, whatever you're going to do,
Yeah.
but having that date forces you to put everything else into place: a budget, locations,
Agreed.
catering. Who are we going to reach out to help us produce this? But you putting that date on the calendar, and I've mentioned this on another episode, but like that was really that was the catalyst, in my opinion, that really got everything like really moving, like, and like letting everybody know, hey, these are the dates. And if you can't do it, cool. But everybody else, we're shooting it then.
Yep.
That's what's happening.
Yep.
And sticking to that. And I think that doing that really makes everything else kind of necessary for that date to continue to be real. So
Yeah.
that
I
was a
mean,
huge
shit.
thing.
The first episode for Life on Bourbon is going to get released in March, and we have a date, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's when did we decide we were gonna?
I don't think I have seen that on the calendar.
I sent you guys a link, I believe. Oh,
Maybe I missed it. Maybe I thought it was for the podcast.
First episode.
I see. March 6th.
Launch. There you go. Launch of episode 1. You know what I mean? And so yeah, 100%, man. If you don't have a date set, then it's not really real. And you will continue to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And look, talk is cheap. It's easy. Everybody loves talking about it.
And it's okay to talk about it. Like, it's okay to meet and like have meetings. Just like, but you set the date, and then you have your meetings leading up to that. So the meetings really serve a purpose because you have a deadline. So you can continue to have those meetings. We met like tons of times with Pedro about producing stuff. We met with the entire cast over and over again, doing read-throughs all the time. We had script writing sessions. So like we were continuing to meet about, the ideas, and the script was changing up until the day before we shot. But it was changing on the day. But that's normal. I think that happens. But like having that date, just it puts a purpose behind everything, and it lights a fire on everything. I'm like, we gotta go, we gotta move.
Yeah.
So if I have a project that you like, I want to do this, I got my script written, I'm ready to go, I have some actors who are down, put a date on the calendar and like say I'm sticking to this date.
And understand that things are gonna get messed up. It's not gonna be perfect.
Change. Yeah.
It's gonna be messy. It's gonna be, even independent film is messy. But I'm gonna tell you what else is messy. Big budget movies are messy. They just are. You know what I mean? Like, they go over budget, and somebody got sick, and or somebody gets hurt.
Let me give you a real world example I learned about today.
Sure.
Buddy of mine works in the film industry here in Atlanta. Him and his wife work in like costuming. They build. She's done a lot of costume work on like a lot of superhero films. She does like that kind of stuff. He got a call his name's Chris. He got a call last Tuesday or Wednesday from a buddy of his who works in production, and he was in San Francisco, and he was working on the halftime show for the Super Bowl. And he called Chris, and he was like, "Hey, dude, we have lost a couple of people. We're trying to, all the sugarcane that Bad Bunny was walking through and everything. That was people, right? There were people dressed as sugarcane. So they needed bodies to come in there and build these sugarcane costumes. He got a call on Tuesday because they were like short of people, somebody quit, whatever. He flew out to San Francisco and spent like the whole rest of the week working on the halftime show, building sugarcane costumes for this halftime show that 135 million people watched. But like it got messy. And it's this massive production that half the population of the country is watching. And like they have issues of like, oh shit, we need extra bodies. Oh, I know a guy. Okay, call him. We'll get him on a plane. They flew him out and he just showed up and started making sugarcane costumes for the Bad Bunny halftime show. And that happened like out of the blue.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it does get messy.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it's
always
like, it's normal. Like there's always shit that everybody's having to deal with.
Yeah. So we say that just to do it anyway. Right? You just got to do it anyway. Like
we're gonna do it anyway.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. Who is that guy, by the way?
I don't know.
I love the meme. But yeah, I think people get scared because of the unpredictableness and because they're holding on to an idea of perfection that doesn't exist. It just doesn't, right? Nothing is perfect. And if you can operate from this perspective of nothing is perfect, then it doesn't matter, right? And then you can just create instead of judging yourself before you even put the thing out, right? I'll give you an example. We've been screening the episode, right? To different people around the world, actually. Showed it in Antarctica, showed it in Austin, showed it in Atlanta and here. And what was it, Colorado?
Yes.
San Diego.
Yeah.
And so everybody has an opinion. Some people are like, I loved it. Amazing. When can we see more of this? Other people are like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, and you can't, and somebody was there who had experienced us screening it and not getting so good reviews, right? And like immediately they were like, well, now we got to get into it. Got super serious, right? Everything needs to change and blah 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 blah. And I was like, let me time out for a second. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Do I know that some things need to be worked on and kind of ironed out? Sure. But I'm not going to base my entire distribution strategy on that dude that didn't like it. When I know that dude has ADHD and he can't sit to watch a project anyway. Like, this isn't.
You gonna tell me off the air who said this to you?
Oh yeah. And I was like, what is it? You know, you're probably on some sort of drug right now. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, so at that point, it's just like, who are we listening to? Who are you listening to?
Well, and right? I think it also goes to like, you know, everything is not for everybody.
Exactly. But then again, we screened it in Baton Rouge and people were like, this is incredible. Yeah. Like, I loved it. And I was like, yeah, me too. Like, seriously, like, when is the next one coming out? Like, I'm invested. So, you know what I mean? So I'm like, great. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't, and it wasn't one of those things that like, you're sitting around waiting for people to give you their honest feedback. Some people are going to really love it. Some people are going to be like, nah, all right. Good enough. You know what I mean? It's not for me. And maybe it's not. Right. So again, I'm only saying this to say, don't worry about it. Right. Like, don't worry about it. Like, what are you sitting around waiting for somebody to approve you? I approve you. Right. John Mashney, who helped us. And we need to bring John Mashney on the podcast. We should absolutely bring him on. Was our business and entertainment attorney. And I love what he said. I said, I'm going to send you the script. And he's like, before you send it to me, I'm going to tell you I already love it. And I was like, what? And he's like, I love it. I was like, okay. He's like, I'm going to tell you why I love it already. Because you're going to send this project out to a bunch of different people. And every single one of those people are going to have something to say about it. every single one of those people are going to have something to say about it.
Yeah.
And I just want to be the first person to tell you that I love it. And I was like,
Sight
John,
unseen.
that's what amazing. What that's amazing. Right. But it just goes to show that, like, if you have the right mental attitude going in to a project and going, no matter what, I'm going to get this project done. Right. Because I don't want to be known as the person that doesn't finish project. That's a for sure. Like, it is for me, it's worse to not finish a project than to get a project done and like get some bad not get the project done and get bad reviews, right? Like, all day, then not finish a project.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be known as that person.
Another thing to think of, you're talking about, people having things to say and having, their opinions on things. When if you're working on a project like this one and you are putting your production team together, think about who you want to work with, think about who you like, think about experiences you've had with people in the past. I remember we had our first production meeting. There was like 30 people on this call, and like 4 of them were directors, and two of them were for cinematographers, and like everybody was like, well, I got to start storyboarding, well, I got to do this, and I was sitting there just like, there's a whole lot of cooks in this kitchen. And we cleaned it up. We had a discussion after that meeting of like, yo, this person's got to go, this person's energy's way off, and we just started cutting heads, just snip, 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 and it tightened up the crew that we had, and it ended up being a really, really good, strong crew. It was small. It's like 4 people. Was all we needed. Realized
better that way.
It was better that way. We were able to move faster that way. And we worked with people that everybody liked. There was no BS on set. It was just super easy, chill set to work on. And there were people that I only met these people in the Zoom call that we had, but had they stayed on, there would have been issues. I know it. Stuff would have come up.
Yep. What we call terrorists. It's what we call terrorists.
I call them cancers.
Same. Yeah, same deal.
The locker room cancer, right? You got to cut that shit out.
Got to cut it out.
So when you're putting your project together, think about who you want to work with, who you work well with, who you can spend a lot of time with, and not want to murder. So
people that are team players, that's number one. Like, they need to be Johnny on the spot. It could be 2:00 in the morning, and they need to be able to like go out and get people for the scene. You know what I mean? And just go, hey, this is what we need. Let's go and make it happen. It's super important. What's the biggest mindset shift filmmakers need to make when they move from artist to fundraiser? Oh boy. I think the biggest mindset shift filmmakers need to make is that they're in business.
Yeah, you gotta kind of go from artist to salesman
immediately.
Like, that's what a producer is. Producers,
and when you're doing and some people just don't want to do it, right? Like, some people are just more content, and they're doing that thing. But if you are not interested in doing any type of sales at all, right? And you're listening to this and you're like, I am a creative, I do not want to touch sales, I do not want to do any of that, then here's what I would recommend.
You need a producer.
You need a producer, right? You need to find someone that believes in your script, that believes in what you're doing, and that is a sales pitch too. And you know what I mean? Like,
and not only that, but they have to be willing to get out there and hustle for you to get the
right. And you're gonna have to sell that person on why they should want to sell for you, right? Like, I think that's, you're sitting around thinking that someone's gonna do this work for you, especially if it's not paid, especially if it's an indie project. Might just be that you have to grab an iPhone on some sticks and go to the college, find yourself some actors that are in the theater program that want to do some more film work. Go to some Facebook groups. We find actors all the time in Facebook groups that are acting specific. You can find actors there pretty damn easy. But you have to make the switch in your mind that you are in business and be okay with that. Because I never believed in letting the ball live in somebody else's court. I always wanted to make sure that I had some control of the ball. Didn't mean that I'm doing everything. It just meant that I know that I needed to push it forward. Like, I'm still pushing it forward. If I'm not pushing this, nobody else is going to push this for me. It's just the way it is. And I understand it. But if I'm clear about what I want the vision to be, if I'm clear about, hey guys, this is how I envision this thing to look at the end, this is how I want to distribute it, this is what I want to do, and you're clear about it, then people can get on board. I think a lot of times when filmmakers can't get people on board, it's because they don't have a strong enough vision. They might have a good script that they put together, but they don't have a vision for where they see this thing going.
Right.
And so if you have a strong vision and you can get people on board with the vision, it's a lot easier to get those things done. But it has to start with some sort of vision for your project so that you can convey that easily, so that people on it don't feel like they're going to waste their time. And so that later on, when you want to do episode 2, that they're going, hey, he did episode 1. Of course I'm going to do episode 2.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, it's going to be a lot easier to get people on board for episode 2, funding, actors, whatever locations, whatever we need, because we will have, yes, we will have a proof of concept. Things are going to be out. We're going to be putting out more content, marketing it heavily, doing some more screenings, things like that. So the first one is the hardest. First one is always the hardest. And you got to get it out of the way. And you got to just do it. And you got to fail at it or succeed at it. I mean, I say fail at it. You might succeed at it. Go in with the mindset that you will succeed. Don't count on it, because I don't want it to like derail you if it doesn't. But if it didn't work that way, then what did you learn, and how can you make the next one better and start working on the next one before the first one sets in? You should start working on the second one in some capacity. So that's the mindset shift. What surprised us most about who actually believed in the project enough to invest? I think what surprised me about this project in particular is that I guess I had built up enough social credibility that people were comfortable going, yeah, Armando finishes what he says he's going to do. If he says that this is going to happen, then it's going to happen. So I feel good about funding and investing in this, because I know it's not just going to go to waste.
I think people have also seen product that you've put out and have been like, oh, I like that stuff that I've seen him do before. I'd like to be a part of this new thing that he's doing now.
That's true.
I wish I had been a part of that other thing that I saw him do. That was cool. I want to be a part of this now. I think everyone saw the Leduc Farms video, and I think that's really what threw us over the top. The Leduc Farms video is really
absolutely.
That's our masterpiece.
I will say, we did the content into clients trailer. It was like this Born Identity project that we did, and from there, I think we really got some people opening their eyes to us, going, oh, this is legit. Like, this isn't something that was like thrown together.
Yep.
And people were like impressed by it. So, like I said, if this is your first project, and my first project failed. Actually, my first project was Life on Bourbon. Actually, that wasn't my first project. I had done a bunch of little sketches here and there, like these little shorts that were like 2-3 minutes long. And I had done, I don't know, a handful of those. Then I started doing the 48-hour film project, and I had done that and finished that. And then my first real project that I was like, hey, I want to like do a bigger project was Life on Bourbon. About 17 years ago, something like that. And I asked my boss for some money. I asked to shoot at the location, and we raised enough money to get it done. Begged, borrowed, and stole, and ended up losing all of the footage. And that almost derailed me completely. I ended up moving to LA after that because I just needed to leave. And so when I was in LA, I had that, dark night of the soul moment. As I'm like sitting in a grocery store parking lot in LA going, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm working at a grocery store right now. I'm not pursuing my career at all. Cause in LA, all you have real time to do is work.
And
you have, yeah. And you don't have time to like network and do the things that you need to do because you're spent. So, and maybe those were excuses, but anyway, I knew that I was going to come back to New Orleans and I was going to make a movie that I wanted to make, which was Bourbon Wiz, The Wizard of Oz meets Bourbon Street. And I was like, and I will finish that project no matter what. And I came back, I wrote it, I casted it, begged, borrowed, and stole, again. But this time around, I made sure that like I got it across the finish line. And I poured myself into it, blood, sweat, and tears. And I was like, I will not be known as the person that doesn't finish projects. So I got it done. And that single project helped launch everything that I'm doing today. The Leduc Entertainment brand. I ended up buying 1,000 copies of this movie and selling it door to door in the French Quarter. I sold them at Comic-Con, sold them to my friends, and I used that money to open up my my production company. So you will learn a lot about yourself through the process of making a movie, right? It's one of the
things.
Learn a lot
about who's on. I think you also learn a lot about like who's on your team, like who really wants to jump on board and who's just kind of blowing smoke. You'll learn that real quick. Like, oh,
Agreed.
I can count on this person. I won't ask him next time. You learn that along the way as well, which is valuable. It's good stuff to know in your life.
Very. So I would highly recommend, putting things together and starting. If people know that you're doing something, I've always found the people that will support you. And the internet is, it's the internet can be toxic, but the internet can also be a place to find like-minded individuals.
Yeah, the world's a lot smaller now than it used to be.
Yeah. And so, I have found so much value and help from social media. We found actors and we found locations that we needed, and we found
PAs
and so there's so many different ways to make a movie these days that I think if you can just get started, that's just the way to go. So we gonna wrap up, but in closing, what I would say is start. Understand that it's a business, even if it's a labor of love. have a place where what is the distribution at the end? Like what's the end here? Like that's something I did learn. And I think we brought that up in the first episode, right? When we were writing the script, it was like, how are we ending this thing?
Yeah.
And when you start with the end in mind, it's a lot easier to fill in the gaps ahead. So do the same thing with the distribution and what you're going to do with this project once it's done. Because if you know how you're going to distribute it and how you're going to put it out, it's going to make it a lot easier to fill in those gaps on the front end. How about you? What say you?
What about starting from the end?
Yeah, or just, about this topic in particular.
Well, like I said, I'm all about building the right team. I think that's really what you can try to do it all on your own, but I think you got to have people that you can lean on to take care of other things that maybe aren't related to raising money, but they allow you to go out and raise money. Pick the right people, pick the people that you know and that you trust and you like to be around, and you can make it all happen. You can put the right team together to put that stuff into place. And if you need to be in the sales seat where you're trying to, get investors in, then find someone else who can come in and location scout for you, or find someone who can come in and direct the shoot for you, or find someone who could audition actors for you, so you don't have to do every single thing, so you can focus on, or find someone who can go out and pitch the project for you that can raise the money for you if that's not what you want to do, so you can do the other things. But build a team, and then the things will start to happen. So
it's a team sport.
Yeah.
100% it's team sport.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We're going to keep cranking out these episodes. So if you guys want us to cover a certain topic that has to do with indie filmmaking, script writing, raising funds, acting, craziness on Bourbon Street stories, that's what we're doing with this podcast. So keep watching and keep listening. And get ready for episode 1.
It's coming.
It's coming. Coming soon.
YouTube near your ass. It's Life on Bourbon.
Late. Thanks for hanging out at Life on Bourbon, the podcast. If you dug this, follow, subscribe, drop a rating and review, and share it with a friend who always orders the old-fashioned. Want your question on the show or a topic you want to unpack? Filmmaking, character backstory, or quarter lore? Let us know. Link in the show notes. Until next time, tip your bartender, protect your lenses, and keep the story rolling.